get to that platform, or to provide water into the area and flood it. So that's going to be the first thing that we're going to do. And that's exactly what happened, but it pushed us off, which must mean that there's something else that's going to have to happen. Which means we can't just go through here, jump on the platform, ride it down, and then get to wherever we need to be, which hasn't actually been fully highlighted yet, I should say. We don't actually know exactly where we need to be, so we have to explore a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit that, and then we're going to jump again, because we saw this white, again, the white bar, it's there. I keep saying it ad nauseum. White scuffs on the ledge mean we get to jump on it. That simple. So we know we can't stay on that. It's the only place we can go. We obviously have to go past that platform. And here's another example of the phantom lighting. This is obviously brighter than the area all around it, but there's no other way. There's nothing lighting this specific section. So this is just phantom lighting, which obviously means this is important. We'll come over, we'll break it. I think this will knock us off. Nope, okay. So that's going to provide some more water. And then we should probably look to see if there's anything else that we want to do. And for doing that, we get some ancient coins. And I believe that's it. Maybe we can't jump up on these because those don't have the white ledges. Now the last thing is we've seen all these mechanics before. Like this, none of these mechanics are new. It's just that when you're doing puzzles, to keep people interested, you want to make sure that you do something new and that you're using the mechanics in different ways. So it's still the same water, raising water, platform puzzles, but it's also now adding these little blocks, which we did in the very first puzzle that we had involving these. Let me just reload really quick. And from this end, we now see that this pillar is highlighted. We see some of these white edges over here. So we know that we're probably going to have to be doing stuff in this area. So now we filled up the water a little bit more. Let's see what happens. Same thing happens. We get pushed off. There's just a little bit more water. That's about it. Let's see, can we get up there? Nope, not going to be there. Not going to be able to get there in time. So we are going to shoot that like we know we should. That'll sit there and float. Hop there. Now that gets pushed all the way over there. Which must mean, hey, we need to use it, and we do. So this isn't like, this was a level design thing. It's to make, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. It's to make the player feel smart. So that was intentionally put, that, where did it go? Oh, right there, went back. So that right there was intentionally put over that. We could have put it, they could have put it over here, because this is where it ended up. But they put it over here so that when we jumped onto this platform, the water pushed it all the way over, we get pushed near it, we are almost forced to jump onto it, and then we get to see, hey, we actually do need to jump up onto that. And then we shimmy across, jump over, go through there, and then the platform slowly returns back to where it was. Like, we feel awesome for figuring that out, because that's like, it's a physics puzzle, but it's almost guaranteed to be scripted. Just to make the player feel so much nicer about themselves. So now that we're up there, the only place that we could go is onto here. And by doing that, we now just have to sit on top there. And it doesn't look like we were going to be pushed as much, but we ended up getting pushed off and back to where we started. And I hope you don't mind skulls, because this game has a lot of them. And now you'll notice that we're now on the second ladder. The one that we could have climbed beforehand is now submerged in water. And so basically we're delivered straight to the ending. And it's a harken back to kind of like a very early part of the puzzle. And this also goes back to the whole overarching puzzle. We know we needed to get to the top of this. And that was our overall major goal. And all the other little bits and pieces underneath it were the minor goals.
No! What did I miss?
Hey, down here!
Now, I never got this part because they were obviously looking at her. And I don't think the cupola... I don't think the cupola was enough to actually like hide her, so I'm almost certain that they saw her, but I guess they actually didn't. I also like to think that's not safe, that he just kind of like primed the explosives for this and then opened up the safety hatch and then just put it on his belt. Like, I'm like, that just seems dangerous to me.
Artifact inside. God willing.
So this is just a story cutscene. So kind of just as another reiteration for everyone who's new, who's been joining. I'm seeing our numbers climbing on that. Hi and welcome. My name is Joe. I'm a level designer, and we are going to be talking about the level design of Tomb Raider.
Who the hell are you?
I've been a level designer professionally for 3 years. I've been doing it somewhat seriously, like a serious hobby, since like 2009,
I don't
2010.
know what you're talking about.
Level designer, for those who don't know, is basically the people who build the worlds. Well, more of like
It was empty
they build
when I got here. There was
the
no body
worlds
and definitely no
and
artifact.
kind of build the interactions and the rate at which the players are going to be interacting with their world. Now, they don't really do much in terms of art. That's more of an environmental artist thing, but a lot of indie studios do a bit of... You end up having to do both. I've done both. So it's a good skill to have. So if you're looking to be a level designer, definitely focus on the level design part, but having some experience in the art is also good, and also having some experience in scripting, so some form of programming, is also really important. So we don't have to do anything with that guy. So this is going to be the ultimate test of everything that we've just learned. All the basics. There's going to be no puzzles, it's just going to be straight up on the rails, we gotta run. Tomb Raider does these a lot. Testing to make sure that we have everything that we know in every permutation that we can. To make sure that we know exactly everything that we want to do. This is the final exam for movements in Rise of the Tomb Raider. Basically just testing everything that we just... in a very straight, clear-cut, high-paced, intense action scene.
What's this?
And then we're back to where we started. So that was a bit of another kind of... I don't want to say another tutorial area, because in theory you could really say that every type of, like, every game like Lara Croft or like a Nintendo game or something like that, they all have, like, almost every scene is going to, or every zone is going to be a new tutorial zone, especially with Nintendo, where they're known for introducing a mechanic into a world, doing a bunch of iterations on it, testing you on that iteration, having a nice grand finale, and then
You're starting to scare me.
that's
The
it.
tomb was empty.
You don't need it anymore.
I think they were looking
Next
for the
world is
divine
something
source.
new. The new Super Mario World does that. Yoshi's Woolly World, I've been playing that with my wife.
I found this symbol in a
That's a
tomb. I
great.
knew
That's
I'd
a
seen
good
it before it was
platformer.
right
That does the
in
exact
the
same
zone.
thing. It's like
Back from
Nintendo's
it.
style.
I saw it here in one of Dad's books. Listen to this. The lost city of Katash.
And again, so if,
Disappeared
for those who are
inside
just joining,
here
if you have
sometime in the
questions
12th
about
century.
level design in general
Legend says
or
on the eve of the
things that I'm
invasion by the
saying,
Mongol horde, it's
you're
Sept
more
in
than
the
welcome to go ahead and answer it, especially during cutscenes like this, because I'll have a lot of time to actually talk about it. If you're looking for like a more traditional Let's Play, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking over this, so it's going to be more of a, if you're interested in level design, or maybe you're already a level designer, or you could just kind of want to learn more about it, this is kind of what you would want to be. This is going to be a stream that you'll want to watch. If you just want to watch somebody play Rise of the Tomb Raider, might not be. But I encourage you to stick around and find out.
Are you listening to yourself?
Jonah, we've been through so much together. You know there's more out there.
So I don't know if this will be, I don't know if we'll be playing this during the next show. We might play a new game. If there's a game you want to see played that you want me to overanalyze and potentially ruin for you, be like, yo, hey, I'm on Twitter at FrozenR. It's the same spelling as this channel, or as my channel, I should say. If you're watching on the Caffeine channel, then obviously I'm not Caffeine.
No, it isn't. If you stayed still for 5 minutes,
you can tweet at me at that, or you can, I think I'm in the Caffeine Discord too. And if you can't watch all of this, there is going to be I'm recording this in the background, which might be why the thing is a little choppy for you. I'll have to fix that for next time. There will be VODs up on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is the same name as everything. So Half-Life 2 is great. I'm considering Half-Life 2. I'm considering Black Mesa, but I'm a little biased on that because I worked on Black Mesa. I worked on it for about 2 years, so I kind of want to, before I like start talking about that, I kind of want to talk to the people. I want to talk to my former teammates and make sure that they're okay with that.
Laura. Holy shit!
Stop! Drop the book!
He's not going to drop the book. At least, not right now.
You can't stop us!
Yeah, so Half-Life 2 uses phantom lighting a lot, and I like to think that Half-Life 2... So Half-Life 2, for those of you who don't know, for some odd reason, don't know what Half-Life 2 is, it is considered one of the greatest games ever made. It has highly acclaimed. Still has a very dedicated fan base. I'm going to say very involved fan base. Years and decades, and they're waiting for Half-Life 3, obviously. A very mortified fan base would be one of them, yeah. That's one way to explain it. Yeah, so if you don't know what Half-Life 2 is, I highly suggest you go and grab it. Right now, play through Half-Life 1 or play through Black Mesa, because I'm biased in that sense. And then, or play through Half-Life 2, Episode 1, and then Episode 2. And then you will join the following of hoping for more games.
Go back. Please don't try to find me.
It runs on an engine called the Source engine, and Source 1, I should say, is ridiculously old. It is 10 plus years old at best. Yeah, there was the one recent episode 3 story thing. I thought that was great. Anyway, so it runs on Source Engine, and Source Engine's lighting is terrible. The Source Engine is not my favorite. Not my favorite engine, except for the Hammer Editor, which makes level design very easy. At least like testing it. But its lighting engine sucked, so they had to use a lot of, early on at least, they had to use a lot of phantom lighting, which again is shining light onto something that without an actual light source, just to highlight it a bit more. And if I see phantom lighting again, I'll show it. All right, so we're now out of the linear story portion of Rise of the Tomb Raider for now. We're now in the more open world area, and this is a bit of a harken back to where we all started. Back with the very first scene, if you were here an hour and 15 minutes ago when I started, we were walking up a cliffside in the middle of deep snow, and then we fell off and almost punctured our friend's hand with an ice pick. So it's a bit of a harken back to that. And as we're pushing through here in a linear manner, we walk down this hill, we see this campsite. And these campsites are absolutely important. This is the first one that we ran into, and this is a very important mechanic in Rise of the Tomb Raider. And so when I talk about framing, I don't know if I can get back up this. Oh, I can, sweet. So if we talk about framing, this is about the time when we start probably realizing what's going on. You see the point made here by the kind of just follow Laura's head. You see the point made by the tent and that branch, and then some of these strings. And off in the distance, it might be brighter, but it's whiter, and it's harder to see. And so this is what we're going to be looking at, because we have all these points, and so structurally and architecturally, even though it's not really architecture, it's more like just organics, our eyes are drawn to this area right here, and we see this campsite. And so then, just to make sure that we don't miss it, it triggers a cutscene where we trip and fall, and we see, and it basically frames this out. So if we hit Q, just as kind of to help move us along, we now see we could go over there, or we can go over there. And so naturally, for the sake of level design, we're going to make Laura suffer, and we're going to go the way that doesn't give us the firewood. Just to see if it actually shows us anything new. And I'm going to hit Q because this is how we actually see like the logs and stuff that we can gather. And we can see that there's nothing really over here. But we do see this little tree bark, and that's actually highlighted. So that means we can probably do something. So we might run up to this and try and jump up it, but we can't. That's because Laura's freezing right now, and she is suffering for our educational benefit. So we know that that's something that we could do, but it's not something that we're going to be able to do right now. So we're going to go back and we'll actually collect wood, and we'll let Laura warm up here.
Need resources to build a shelter.
And you might have noticed when we walked through that bush, we slowed down a bit because we were going through deep snow. That's really important, and once Laura heats up, I will go back to that.
That's my work.
I will go back to that because that's really important in terms of level design and mechanic introduction.
Need to gather more. Dry enough to burn. I hope.
Hey, what is up, that ducky? So,
fresh kill. No meat, but maybe something else.
Oops. So, this is another framing thing. I can move my mouse around, but the camera automatically went in the way that we could see the wolves. So it's like, alright, we gotta deal with wolves coming up, and that just keeps us on guard. That's a scripting thing, and that is, that's also a level design thing, but if you're doing level scripting, who are basically level designers and the scripters will be working together on that if they're not doing it like at the same time. So that's just part of it. And again, that's going to be working with the people who are writing the story and how things need to be made and all that type of thing. So, masking the transitions, a bit of a story. Philanthropy is asking, what size of team do you think needs a full-time level designer? Because I'm a level designer and I'm a freelance level designer, I'm going to say any size team. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But in actuality, it's really up to you. If your game needs, say, like, really... If level design is an important thing for you, in your game, you should definitely hire a full-time level designer, or at least get some level design consulting work. Somebody who can kind of come in and look at the levels that you're making. So you want to, I would say, if you have a programmer and an artist, you should probably have a level designer. But in that case, your game designer should also be able to double as a level designer if that's what you need to do. So I guess the smallest would be 3. But that would still be sharing jobs. It's
I won't. I can't.
It's really hard to actually put a hard number on the smallest team size, because it really depends on the game, team, and the team's combined skills.